I don't know if I'm going to keep that in or not. Welcome back, everybody, to Into the Verse. This first podcast episode of 2024. Yeah, drum roll, please.
Yeah.
We decided to take we pulled the CIG and took us a very long hiatus. Kind of took a step back. Kind of
much needed.
Much needed. Yeah. Not only, but like scheduling issues, just IRL life things going on and stuff like that. Kind of made it difficult to sit back down. But we're back.
We're here.
Excuse me. And for those who don't know, my name is Vintage.
I
and
am
of
OG.
course, next to me.
Man,
I just said next to me. Like, you know, it's all good.
Hey guys, what doing?
What doing? Man, so you went fishing today, didn't you?
No. Couldn't tell?
Yeah, you did.
Couldn't tell? It's so bad. I'm wearing a hat because it looks like I have a brake line.
I saw it earlier. I had to say something about it, man. I couldn't help it. I couldn't help it.
For those of you who don't know, I burn every time I look at the sun, okay? It doesn't matter. And mind you, the sun it's out now, but it wasn't out when I was fishing, okay? I also didn't catch anything. Wasn't a good fishing trip. Wasn't it?
It'd be all right.
Wasn't it?
It'll be fine. It'll be fine. I promise.
It's cold. The sun wasn't out. And I still got sunburned.
But we are here to talk about 323. Or not 3, I'm sorry. 2023. I'll get it right eventually. But anyway. 2023 and everything that has transpired so far in the previous year. And just going over all the stuff that happened that was influential into where we're at now.
Was a bananas year, first off.
Right. So let's just start off right at the top, right? So with 318.
I don't want
to. So you want to talk about bananas? Let's
I don't want to talk about
bananas.
318 was fantastic. Best patch ever been dropped. Best first 6 days of not being able to queue in. But it's okay because it's what happens. It is what it is, right?
But it is really. I agree with that. And it's all part of the development process. As much of a headache as it is, it needed to happen, right?
It did.
So they needed something like this, because imagine if they didn't get this kind of result the day the game launched and 2 million plus people tried to sign in and it was a complete epic failure. Like, they don't need that kind of stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But there's been plenty of games in the past that have done that and not took those steps. You know, I'm very, very thankful that they did that, because it's one thing that you can't control and you can do nothing about. You get your new game you've been watching for a while, finally drops. Go to queue in. You're 7,856,000 in line. your approximate queue in is about 97 days. You know.
Yeah, dude. It would have been bad. It would have been bad.
Yeah.
I don't think when Pez dropped in 318, like I think it was probably until like a concurrent patch after that, like 318.1 was when I really started giving it a go.
Yeah, same here.
Just because I couldn't get in. I mean, and when I did get in, it was highly unstable. You know, but it was
318 was a whirl.
Yeah, that you want to talk about getting like flushed down the toilet or sitting on the fucking free spin on a dryer or something like that.
That was 318 for you. That basically sums up the entirety beginning of 2023. Just 318.
It really does.
I mean,
that was the. Yeah, I was trying to regather my thought there, but
boing 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 boing.
That doesn't help.
No.
But it even after so getting back into the patch, right? And I'm sure some of y'all listening in, which we do appreciate this, by the way. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that kind of stuff and whatnot. Yeah. Greatly helps the channel out. But getting back into the patch at 3.18.1, there was so many. There was a huge difference with Pez, and just like the garbage man was taking a vacation or something. Like there was just so much crap, right? Littered throughout the entire system.
Yes,
it was ridiculous.
Bad.
So bad. It still can be to this day, but
Yeah.
oh man, that was, I don't know, that was insane for me. Like it was cool that Pez came in persistent indie streaming, but as far as like playability and everything like that, like it was real tough at first.
It really was. I mean, man, I remember there was days where I didn't even bother to launch it or even try because I knew. I mean, it was a good 2-3 weeks before I even got to experience it for the first time. And then when Pez first came in, it didn't really work. I mean, but that's the whole point, you know.
Right.
It's the whole point of it. But yeah,
3.18
was. But 3.18 was that big step to achieve the greatness that we know that it can be. I think it was a very necessary patch, even with all the bugs and all the issues that we all ran into. I think it was necessary for sure. It had to happen, you know. And I'm hoping that we get a couple more of those in the future, you know. A couple more of those issues that we've not necessarily through 18. You know, hopefully, you know, it'd be better next time. Maybe playable, you know. But I hope that we get everything figured out.
Yeah.
Everything.
I think
bring your RT money back.
What?
Bring your RT drugs back.
Dude, that ain't gonna happen. and so like the reason why they're not doing that with the ERTs, to where they're making it harder for you to find the Weevil eggs, right? Because that was a huge kick that was going on for a little bit, especially recently. And I've said this before, it's like they need to find these loopholes that people are going out and just making these insane amount of money in a short amount of time.
Easy.
It was super stupid easy. But they need to find those loopholes, because if you have too many of them,
it takes the fun out of it.
Day one on launch, yeah, it really does. Like, because I got to that point where I just had a retarded amount. I went out and bought 890 for crying out loud. Okay,
and we can make that kind of money on 1 or 2 ERTs, depending on what it was always a fantastic spawns.
Right.
I mean, we were
filling there and you
C2s.
find a couple of C2s with cargo and then go selling them at Brio's Breaker, man, and $5-6 million a pop, if that, if not more. You know, and it got ridiculous, and that's what I'm saying. Like, they need to find these kind of like little kinks or whatever, not kinks, but like loopholes or glitches in the system, like whatever you want to call them, and make sure that people, especially like at the launch of the game, which this is like years down the road, but like find those kind of things to where those people can't just go out and go, bam, I got $40 million, and it's only been a week live, you know, like that.
Yeah. It takes the fun out of it.
Yeah, it really does. And it people need to make the money a little less quicker.
Yeah, 100% agree with that.
I hate to say it, but
like it's fun. It's fun now, because like you said, the game isn't out yet. So that's what makes it so fun to be able to go exploit the loopholes and the money and all that. But just like you said, we want it when the game fully releases. We want it to be right. We don't want to be able to go up to one spot and say, hey, I'm just going to put that box in my ship. I'm going to go set it down there with a couple buddies of mine, man. We're going to make 97 mil real quick. Yeah. One box. I mean.
Yeah, that's.
It was nuts. It was nuts. But it was necessary.
So.
Fun.
My thing, though, with it is. Speaking of buying ships, I bought 2 more. I bought a Vulture.
Oh,
for the salvaging. In game. Calm down. It was in game, man. Don't give me that.
Oh, you was fixing to get a left hook straight through the screen.
No, both of them were in game. I have not spent any more money at RSI.com. Calm down. I'm just saying it's in game. No. I'm a subscriber. That's it. Like, that's all they're getting out of me for now. That's it. I want my Zeus first. But anyway, so I got the Vulture, and then I got the Caterpillar.
How many times have you had the Caterpillar?
In game.
Is this number
bought it in game?
I bought it in game. In general.
I don't give a shit.
This number like 8 or 9?
No, it's the third time that I've owned it. This is the first time in game that I've owned it. I still got it in my buybacks. I might buy it again. Don't judge me. You are so judging me.
I am. It's because I'm a real homie. Okay, I'm supposed to judge you.
Not that hard.
Vintage is went through a dilemma not too long ago. He called me. He's like, "Man, thinking about buying the Caterpillar bag. Why?" It's like, "Well, I kind of want to go, run some cargo, things like that.
I like having a big cargo ship, man. And it's
long. What ships do you currently have?" I got the MSR. That's a pretty decent car. Not the best, but pretty decent.
Only 114 SCU though.
It holds a good bit. You're not gonna find nothing.
But they nerfed it all. Holds like 596.
Yes, but you were talking about that. Look, this is why I'm saying I'm glad you bought it in game. Okay, because
that's what I'm saying. Like
if you would have bought that shit back, I mean, we were gonna have issues. Okay, we were gonna have issues.
What kind of issues?
Like serious ones.
You gonna beat me?
Wait a minute. I don't want to talk anymore. Is this a wrong podcast?
We're gonna move on from that. We're not going to talk about ships. Anyway, we got off on a tangent. But yeah, so... But that is one of the great things about 318 with the ships, though, is that you can fill those suckers up, and if you get back into that same server, that ship is still going to be there, and you can go grab it. Like that is one of the great things, and that is a huge benefit, and all that.
Huge benefit.
The only thing I don't like, I think it was 318 that broke it. Was the bed logging.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think it. And not being able to bed log on other people's ships either. That was a big
that was the main thing. Yeah. Because they got the bed logging for your own ship.
Mm-hmm.
But
I couldn't
when it
couldn't
comes
be in
to
yours.
Yeah. Right, exactly. And that's the thing that annoys me.
Hey, I guess it's not necessarily a bad thing, right? Because it is a better way to play. That way you're not in space, and you can be with your loot when you go home, come back on. You know what I mean? It's a good way to stay at a station. But it does suck if you jump off in a pinch. Something comes up, got to run to the store, get some milk, never return. I gotta I gotta dip, but I gotta come back. I don't want to stay in the server. It's in Helldivers. We're not doing that.
No, they added that AFK timer though. Thank God. Jesus Christ. But yeah, so 318 was hella fun.
It was emotional. It was stressful. I cried at least 9 times in the loading.
90,000.
It was the first time I ever had to get put on antidepressants, but it was worth it. It was so worth it. Yeah, I think so.
But like. So keeping in mind with the commotion and everything like that with 318, then we go to 319, right? And we're just like, what? That was a patch.
Yeah.
Like they brought in some vehicles and some other things, but like there wasn't really a whole lot going on with that, and it was really kind of
too much.
Yeah, it was really lackluster as far as like content wise goes.
I think the biggest thing for 319 was probably going to be the Ghost Hollow, especially for your hardcore PvP players.
Yeah.
It's going to be Ghost Hollow. I mean, that's still good fun to this day.
Yeah.
I mean, it's terrifying. It's scary.
Going up against other people?
No, they hide in the trees, man. You can't even see them.
I mean, I would. That's the best place to be with a sniper rifle.
Nothing going on, and then all of a sudden you hear just a shot. and then see a railgun shot coming towards your head.
Speaking of railgun shot, you remember that railgun shot from that Idris you was on it?
I don't know what you're talking about there, bud.
You were there.
What are we talking? Are we talking about the times that I've been hit by the railgun shot?
No. Okay, so recently we went on a hammerhead. You were. It was either you or Gab was in the top turret.
I was in the top turret. Gab was the pilot, and it was. I wish I would have recorded it. I didn't have my instant replay set up, or we would throw it in there. But it was absolutely the most gorgeous death I have ever seen coming to me. Because, so mind you, we're dodging a hammerhead to the left, and I think there was a Valkyrie or something to the right. It just was directly in front of us. We were coming up and over to roll over the hammerhead, get rid of the hammerhead. As we come through the two ships, I'm sitting there looking. I'm like, Gav, that gun's charging. I can hear it.
We're all strafed up so quick, like it's just like
we are all so close. We're real close quarters at this point. I'm like, Gav, I can hear it. We need to move. Gav doesn't move us. I don't know what happened. Not blaming him for it, because it was probably one of the funniest moments I had throughout all of the patches of 2023. It was fantastic. And all of a sudden, you just see this blue streak of light just come straight for me because I'm in the top turret. And that was it. That was it. There was no talking. It was dead silence after it happened. Because we heard the shot. It was hilarious. It was something else. It was something else. It was really cool. Shit out of that. I did too, man. That was, I think, because the entirety of the 318 to 322, I haven't been able to get a bunch of critical threats. I don't know if it's something to do with me personally, but I don't think haven't been able to pick up.
CIG hates you. That's what it is.
That's what it is. They just know that I'm just a fantastic pilot, and they don't want me going up against it. And for those who have ever played with me, they know that's why.
When you need him, knock you down a few notches.
I'm good on that. He'll make me quit. I'll sell my PC in a heartbeat. But man,
there wasn't really a whole lot that really went down with 319.
The Furies were cool.
Okay, yeah, Furies came in cool. Yep, everybody's over those by now, though. I know I stuffed 5 of them in the Caterpillar. I had the Caterpillar back now. I mean, that was
it wasn't.
Oh yeah, the Lorville rework. That was another thing that happened in 319.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it looks great, but Trash Planet. Pandas are right at home, but whatever.
Yeah.
The raccoons.
Oh.
Trash pandas, yeah. Anyway, but then so kind of we went from a real high to kind of like a mediocre, lowish type patch, and then we went into 320, right? And that was we said goodbye to Port Ollie, right? Yeah. So for those who have been here since the get-go, I know that was probably a good, like a god dang it moment kind of thing. I know a lot of people were sad about that. It was an Arena Commander focus, right? So a lot of the stuff from the Arena Commander came over. I don't know if it was then, but I know now you can do like multi-crew, like get into Hammerhead and stuff like that. Like multiple people can spawn on one ship if it has that like turret and stuff. I don't know if it was then, but I know you can do it now.
But still a good step that needed to happen to get to where we're at now.
Right. So and now is 3-3, by the way. We're in March, so 3rd of March.
Yeah, we're a little late to the party. So, that's all good.
Right? Yeah. I mean, it's whatever. But
320 was one of my favorite ones, and you know why.
Physicalized cargo too was another thing. What? Why? F8.
F8. so my fleet changed more than it has ever have. 320.
Last few months, yeah. Since
No, 320. 320 to a T. Changed.
Yeah.
No, because IE changed more than what.
Yeah, but that was like right before IE, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
right.
because that was right
Yeah,
before.
that's right
320.
before. Yeah,
Yeah.
But the F8 was probably one of the coolest events that I ever experienced. To be able to get a ship, go find your golden ticket, or if you're very lucky, find your platinum ticket.
We ain't gonna talk about the platinum ticket. We ain't gonna.
Yeah,
we're
not gonna talk about it because none of us got to experience that. But it is what it is. But I had a blast going to get the golden ticket and bringing it up to the terminal and all that.
A golden ticket in 5 minutes of getting on.
Yeah, but when I feel like I did it first. I watched like when it dropped, I was updating and I was in there. There was no one there for at least 3 seconds. So
I'm just saying, man. Like the golden ticket, like it was cool, and we made sure we got everybody in the org a golden ticket that needed one. But it wasn't that hard to find them, is what I was saying.
No, it wasn't.
Unless you were somebody with CIG, like you wasn't getting a platinum ticket. Like good freaking luck.
Yeah.
And that's the same thing with this other event that just happened with the Idris, but we're not going to talk about that either. I'm highly irritated.
We're doing past patches. Just breathe. Do your pregnancy breaths, man. Hee hoo.
Oh. Just saying, man. Like the F8 event was kind of annoying, but like I got it because they're giving away a ship and they don't necessarily do that. And then here we go, a few months later, we're giving away another ship, right? And we don't even get to participate in it. I don't even care about winning anything.
I just want to do
participate. I just want to do it.
Yeah.
That's all I want to do.
I want to see the boat.
Kill some devs. Like hell yeah. Like come on. Keep your damn ship. I'll give you the ticket back.
From a certain standpoint, I can understand why they did it. Now I do
too, but it's still annoying.
Because you think about it, they go, "Hey, we're gonna have these devs on at this time. We're gonna be in these amount of servers. We're gonna have a bunch of people on. Yada yada yada. Everyone in the server is gonna go straight for them, and then it's gonna become a chaotic mess.
I'm sure it was, and I don't doubt it, but I wanted to be part of the chaos.
I agree. Me too.
Because they were talking about Xenothreat, and I was like, dude, I want to get involved in Xenothreat because that is like one of my favorite ones. And then to hear that they actually,
mine too. That's top tier.
That's one of my favorite events outside of Siege of Orison. And then to hear that they changed it up to where like you're actually going down there to the surface and dealing with them for the hacking part of it or whatever it was. So like I never got a call from CDF saying like, hey, we need you because UEE sucks. But I never got that call. So I don't know if the Idris thing was just its own thing or if that was actually part of Xeno or what. Like I didn't get 2 and 2 put together. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know. Yeah. So that was my main thing.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping Xenothreat comes back and I can do that kind of event.
Yeah, me and you both.
Get rid of the devs. Let the Idris come out. Let me board it. Like that kind of thing. Let me look around. Like I want to see it. But whatever. Anyway, back to 320.
Back to the F8. Fantastic
the
shit.
F8.
Absolutely amazing. My favorite fighter currently in game. Now I loved my glaive, but I canned it. I don't need that no more.
That glaive was trash, man.
Dude, I love that. I love that shit, man. Size 5 plasmas.
Size 4 gats on a talon. You ain't touching me.
This is true.
Because you couldn't. You get a couple of lucky shots here and there, man. And
do it. But
that F8, you tear my butt up.
Absolutely love this ship. Love it. I think it's if you let's say you get your starter pack on Star Citizen, right? And you play it for 6 months, you're like, man, I know this is gonna be a game that stays with me for a while. and I want to get into fighting, and I want to spend a little bit. This shit was like $300.
$300 for a
But
fighter. $300 for a fighter. I don't care.
For
It's got
a
6 hard points.
amazing
I don't care.
fighter. Even if you are not a decent pilot, this is a ship that can help you grow. It's got 4 gimbals. No, it's got.
God, dude. But okay, so no, like,
yes.
First off, we're getting off on another tangent because we're talking about the F8. But like, no, I don't think it's worth $300. Like, I'm just gonna put it out there. And then plus, there's also bad blood about this because you were only supposed to be able to get the F8 from what I heard.
That upsetted me.
I don't know if it's true, but it's a little late now. But you were only supposed to be able to get the F8 after you completed the Squadron 42 campaign, from what I heard. I think that was one of the few ways. Or if you spent a certain amount of money, you got the executive edition, which was the black and gold, which I'm sure is sexy.
It is. I got to see one, a couple of them.
Did you? Yeah, I didn't. I didn't see one. Not one.
Could never do it. I love RSI, all of that.
I think that's an Aegis here, bud. Or
Anvil. I love Aegis.
Anvil.
I love Anvil.
Oh my god.
But I couldn't do it. I think you had to spend, I think it was like what, 30 something?
I have no clue because I'm not there.
Maybe less than that. Oh, I ain't nowhere close. We ain't even on the percentage marker yet. We're still at 000 point.
Dude, like, I'm close to getting the gold armor, but that's about it. And I'll probably stop after that because I'm not interested in spending anything above what I've already spent. Shut up. Anyway, moving on, because there wasn't much. There was, like we said, there was saying farewell to Port Olisar, physicalized cargo, the F8, and
Halloween event. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, whoop-de freaking doo-dah, comes around every year. Arena Kitty Commander. Armor. What?
Your kitty armor, man. Get your kitty armor in the Halloween event.
No, you can get that in the subscriber store all year round. I mean, I guess you can get it in that event. I'm
sick of not feeling special.
Well, maybe you should subscribe. I don't know what to tell you. So 321 was shortly after CitizenCon, right? Or during, one of the two, I can't remember. CitizenCon was awesome.
Yes.
That was a great CitizenCon. I enjoyed that one. And it was leading up to what is now soon to be 323. But we're going to get to that. Right? Are you okay?
I just had a moment.
You just air pumping over here like crazy?
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
We got new FPS missions on Crusader, which was cool. We got a couple other little things. A whole bunch of ships got introduced. The Zeus. I got that. I got the MR version. You got the ES.
Yeah.
Right?
Gonna be the explorer like Dora.
Really?
Praise hell, praise Dale, brother. I may have had a coffee.
Coffee does something for you?
Dude, I don't take any caffeine. I don't even take aspirin like when I have a headache. I just deal with it. So when I drink a cup of coffee, it is good. It's almost like doing a line. Never done a line, but I feel like it would be close for it to me.
Yeah, you throw that in there real quick, didn't you?
Yeah. Mama, watch this. See that I said that? I'm in trouble. Mama is 4 foot nothing and has demons on her.
Whoop your ass.
Demons. She from the hood.
Oh my god. So we got a whole bunch of new ships. We got a new ground vehicle, the tank and all that. And did we get any kind of content or anything like that? Or was it just a bunch of stuff?
I
don't think we got any new content that patch. The only kind of content we got was CitizenCon and IAE.
Did we get the
once you've been to IAE? They're always adding those in. I don't
Yeah,
they
I
may have
guess
had
so. I know they had a
they're
couple. I think it was in Microtech. They had a couple new ones, which is pretty cool to see.
which probably.
But
Hurston, I think they added some too as well with the derelict outpost because you got
that's
like
right.
the other ones, the island ones and whatnot.
Yeah, that's right. That
Yeah,
was pretty cool. That
and
was a
the
different change of
duster outfits or
atmosphere.
whatever. Yeah, it was cool.
Right.
Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like I'm all for it. Like I'm not trying to dumb it down. I mean, it sounds like I am, but I'm not. You know, it's just it's as far as like a patch wise, it was a pretty
It was a
filled
great
patch.
patch. Yeah.
Yeah, it was a decent patch. Like I'm not even gonna lie. And it was a good like towards the end of the year kind of patch to hold us over until 322 came out, which was supposed to be the replication layer, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
And like I get it, like testing happens and things don't necessarily work out, and that's sad, but these kind of things need time. However, currently, most recently, like this past week, they talked about Evocati going into testing for server meshing with 100 people in Pyro and 100 people in Stanton. Did you hear about that?
I did not.
So
I should have, but I didn't.
it's fine. I'll explain it to you. So 100 people in each of the systems, Pyro and Stanton, right? And then also having replication layer in place. So they're now starting testing on that. And speaking of CitizenCon, since we just addressed that, like I didn't go into detail about CitizenCon, but one of the things that they did say at CitizenCon is that planned, air quotes for those who are not watching the video, Pyro release in the summer of 2024. Summer patch being after 323.
Fingers crossed.
Air quotes going up. Like, don't hold your breath. Take it with a grain of salt, y'all.
Yeah.
Don't get your hopes up. Like, just manage your
There's
expectations.
A lot to be done. There's a lot to be done.
And there's going to be a lot of bugs involved with that. And I think that's where a lot of these attitudes come from. It's like, oh, you've been in development for And I'm like, okay, so look at what they're doing. Okay. And then look at other games that have been in development for 9 or 10 years and compare what they're offering compared to what Star Citizen's been in development for and what they're offering.
Yes.
That is a huge difference.
It's a different ball game.
It completely different.
It is.
It aggravates me when people go, oh, well, this game's been in development for years. I'm like, okay, look at what they're trying to do compared to the garbage that gets released almost on a daily basis from the gaming industry. Like, all the time, and us as the gaming community buy into it and spend 60, 70, 80, 90 to $100 on a freaking game that we play for a couple of weeks, get a couple of playthroughs through, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. And it's like, dude. And then they get littered with microtransactions like a mother, like whatever. Anyway, I'm not going into that rant because I'm not doing that. I got a little sour.
I think we need to dabble a little bit more into CitizenCon and some of the stuff that they talked about.
We will, because we're going to talk about that at 323, which is the final thing that we're going to talk about, and that's where we're going to spend a majority of our conversation at, because CitizenCon and 323 obviously go hand in hand, right? So because they talked about at CitizenCon what they were going to do for the beginning of 2024. So we're going to end up transitioning into that, right?
Okay.
So, but 322 came out, and we got the first iteration of one of the things that they talked about at CitizenCon, right? Which was customer, the hair from CitizenCon. They talked about new hairstyles and stuff like that.
Luscious locks.
Yeah. Look what your hair did, girl.
Got it done.
So, right. So that was one of the things, and dude, I was happy. I was like, yes,
I'm a
like
fan
new
of
stuff. Like, I'm down with that. But
I have had the same bald head for 2 years. Or Lord Farquaad haircut. I have roots and colors.
So there was arena commander levels. There was new vehicles like the X1 that finally got that put out, but we still don't have our Rangers.
Yeah.
CIG.
Hmm.
What's up with that?
I just don't
2
love
wheels,
this.
man.
You got 2 other ones down. Get it together.
I just want Sons of Anarchy on Daymar. That's all I want, man. It's not too much to ask for. I'm just saying. Anyway, we're going to move on from that. So, and then, what else did we get? Let me look at my notes here.
Santaki Eye.
Yep, Santaki Eye that I did not spend $220 on.
I didn't either. But I did get the X1.
Yeah, I mean, that was $45. Like, whatever.
Pretty cool. It blow up real quick, but it's fun.
They all do, man. It doesn't matter either any of the Grav Labs. Mm-hmm. But it was a fairly decent patch. We got cargo containers that we could actually store stuff in, like actually access as like an external storage. That
fantastic.
Love that. Love that to death. Like, that is awesome. I've wanted one of those for a while. But anyway, so there was like a couple of like kind of like small like quality of life changes, you know, things like that. Mm-hmm. And then that was it for 323.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. 20.
As far as like content wise came, it added some stuff. We, like I said, cargo missions, a whole bunch of other stuff with derelicts and ships and things like that. And it was a decent year. It wasn't the greatest year, but it was a decent year, right?
Yeah.
So
for the issues that we had and all that, I mean, it wasn't bad. You know, it was manageable, especially getting towards the end of these patches that we've had.
318 was kind of a letdown. 318 was really like bad, it put everybody worried. 318 really worried a lot of people. Let me put it that way.
I agree.
So I agree. But we got through it and we moved on.
We did. We kept on trucking.
And then turns. Fast forward a few days, we get into 2024, right? And everybody's all hyped because of Citizen Con, and we're like, oh man. And then we don't hear anything. For what was it? 2 months, dude?
Yeah.
I think it was 2 months, and we were just like, dude, where's the news at?
What is going on?
Everybody was like, oh yeah, you know, Star Citizen, everybody's making YouTube. I'm like, I don't know where y'all getting y'all stuff from. I haven't heard nothing.
I ain't seen nothing.
But it was fine because, you know, you and I, we had some family issue stuff going on and some scheduling stuff. And we were supposed to have a guest on here today, and that kind of fell through.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it is what it is. And it sucks, but it's just something, you know, like we got to work through.
It's the beautiful word. That's it.
What did you say?
Pick it up. I said life, but
yeah, totally. I saw your lips move, but I did not hear a thing. But and so backtracking to CitizenCon, they announced, for those who don't know, which I'm sure all of you do, we're talking about character customizer, we're talking about cargo lifts, which I'm really looking forward to that one. They're apparently going to have like the first implementation of master modes. Kind of concerned about that.
Yep.
There was what else was there?
Star map.
Yep. The plotting of courses, the mini map, the FPS compass, the dynamic like scopes or whatever, something like that. Like Anyway, dynamic crosshairs.
Couple new weapons that, you know.
What?
The what did they call it? I think it was the Volt or something.
That's not coming out. They ain't said shit about that.
No, I'm saying it's when they talked about it in CitizenCon. I know it's not coming out.
Oh no, I was talking about what was coming out in 323. I'm sorry, man. That's what I was referring to.
You said.
I did. Just talking about CitizenCon. My bad. I'm sorry. I meant to iterate that the stuff that they talked about at CitizenCon that was coming in 323. I apologize, everyone.
Yeah, you got people.
But anyway,
including myself.
But still, 323 with all the stuff that they did talk about that is coming in 323 is planned. Let me throw that out there. Planned, by the way. Nothing guaranteed. Let's just underline that 3 times. Exclamation points, a couple. no guarantees whatsoever on what is there because nothing's been confirmed, right? So we have, which I would assume most of y'all would go there and look at the progress tracker and look at the card and see that there are massive amounts of quality of life changes coming from, like he said, star map, and FPS compass and character customizer for those of us that are probably going to spend at least 45 minutes to an hour in that sucker when we first launch it, whenever it comes out. I know you're going to make your character look like completely retarded because that's what you do in every game.
You want to know what I'm hoping I'm able to do? I want to be 2AT, the little leprechaun off I think it's the Lucky Charms leprechaun. Yeah. I mean, I got the red beard.
You're not changing your height. I can tell you that much right now.
I'll find a way. I'll cut my legs off.
That's not part of it.
And tell me what I can and can't do. Star Citizen.
Okay, CIG will tell you what you can and can't do then. But anyway, all I'm saying is that the massive amounts, and I really do think that this is going to change a lot of things. So we'll have manual loading and unloading of cargo. That's one of the major things for the cargo haulers. And there's going to be cargo missions for the cargo haulers.
Yeah, that's going to be cool.
That's huge. So we now have salvage missions. We have bounty contracts. We have delivery missions. We have now cargo missions when 323 comes out.
Nope.
You know what we know what we don't have? Mining missions.
You're right.
I don't know if that's going to be a thing, which I mean, like, do you really want to use a mining mission to maybe for those getting started? I can see that, you know?
Yeah, I can see that.
Like give them adjusted to how things work so they're not really spending and they're given a ship and all that or whatever, you know? They're like, hey, go here and rent a ship, you know? And they kind of know like what they got to do it on
that would be
cool. I could totally see that.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Totally see that. But and kind of get them out there to like, hey, this is how this field works, right?
It's complicated.
I agree. Like, I don't know nothing about game development. I'm just a very patient person, but I also try to take my shoe off and put somebody else's shoe on so I can try to see things from their perspective. Because if I just look at it from my one-sided self, I'm not going to have a very good opinion. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that's another thing that a lot of people fail at just in general is not going, what about them? It's not just about me.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. A lot of people don't take that extra initiative to say, I wonder why he's talking to me the way he is today, you know? And
I talk to you like shit every day, dude. You're just going to have to get over
that. Mama didn't raise no bitch. I mean, it is what it is. but vengeance.
Right. So we took a little bit of a break, but we're back. So we're going to continue on talking about 323 and basically like what we kind of expect out of it, right? So you
want to know
what?
You want to know what I am hoping, expecting, and praying for?
Zeus.
No inventory. First login. None.
Not now. No, I got the caterpillar. Nope.
I want nothing. I don't want those ships I bought. I want the stuff that I pledged. I want no more missiles in my inventory. No more. I have way too many.
I need to stream my screen when I go through my inventory just so you can see what's actually there. Okay, if you really want to start complaining.
We have buddies that have full inventories. How you get a full inventory, I have no idea. And I'm a loot goblin. I pick up stuff I have multiple pages of multi-tools.
Yeah. So do
multiple. I don't need that many. I need at least every color twice.
Yeah.
Nah, I need more than that.
Dude, I did a cargo run earlier today. And I went out and picked up some med supplies and took them back to R-Corp. Made about 120K off that run too, by the way.
Heck yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't a bad run, right? Off of med supplies. Like, what?
Yeah.
Anyway, so when I was there getting the med supplies, I found like 8 multi-tools. They in my inventory.
Put them in a boat.
Exactly. Put them in a boat. But But no, like so there was a leak a couple weeks ago about the lift elevators, right? The cargo lift elevators. This freaking earpiece keeps trying to fall out. It is going to irritate the snot out of me, but it's better than headphones. But anyway, but yeah, so there was the cargo lift elevators, right? And we got to because the manual loading and unloading of cargo is going to happen in 323, supposedly, right? Supposedly. However, for those of you who don't know, the other portion of that with the freight elevators, you're still not going to be able to call your vehicle in at the main spawn location.
Yeah.
As far as what they've said so far as of 3/3/2024, at the date of this recording, that's not coming in on the first iteration anyway. So but still the simple fact is that we can load and unload our cargo. I think is going to be awesome, which means multi-crew of cargo transport is probably going to be a thing. You know, like some people are still going to, you know, do it solo because you still got those solo players out there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But for people who are in orgs, especially like industrial orgs and things like that, like they're going to have like a full-on thing going, you know.
Yeah.
And I really think that's going to be cool. And I think
I think
like
it's going to open up a
promotion
different
of that.
Yeah, it's going to open up a different aspect for a lot of people, especially when
absolutely
you got people jumping in orgs, you know, trying to find their group people that they want to play with, this, that, and the other. There's going to be some massive operations going on, dude. I'm excited to see what people come up with. I'm super excited to see. I have a blast doing it. It's a fun, chill vibe. Like it's good fun.
Right. And the other good thing about that is the fact that we have our own like personalized hangers, like instance hangers. So they're talking about having that coming in 323, which means all these little props and stuff like that people have, they can start displaying their rewards or their trophies and different. I think that's cool as all get out. Like I love that kind of stuff because it like
makes
just
it personable.
Imagine. Yeah, it does. It really it adds their own personal touch, and I love that. Like, just imagine like later down the line, games launching, new person comes in, like never been in Star Citizen before, and somebody who's been in the game has earned their stripes and all that from doing this whole process, takes them in their hangar there, and they're just like, whoa.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like I would get a kick out of that. Like if I was a new player, like day one of it launching or something like that, and somebody showed me all their stuff. Dude, I would have been like, man, I wish I'd have signed on earlier kind of thing. Like,
right?
I think it would have been dope, you know, but I get a kick out of that kind of stuff. Like, that's just kind of my thing. But, you know, I'm really excited for when we get our own, like, personal habs and building interiors. Like, they talked about that kind of stuff, too, and I'm really looking forward to that. And one of the other things that's along the lines of what we're talking about now too is that in the beginning of 2024 they started production on base building.
Yeah,
it went into full production in 2024 from what they said at CitizenCon.
That's nuts.
That is going to be nuts. I don't think we're going to see it this year though. Like if we do, it's going to be at the very tail end of 2023, right? Like I don't think we're going to see anything mentioned up until it's closer to being done. But who knows, with all the added like personnel that's coming from Squadron 42 over to the PU, like we may start seeing some stuff roll out at a quicker basis. I.e. the Zeus. Because there was a recent leak on the Zeus.
There was.
Leak. I say leak. Yeah. It was more like a teaser photo from CIG, but it was about the Zeus in white box sitting in a hangar. I'm like, man, that looks like they're really like kind of steamrolling this thing and just really trying to get it out. Which
I think that they had a lot of action with that ship.
Yeah, they probably did, to be completely honest. Like that Zeus was dope. Like a lot of people really, I think, got on board with the Zeus. And that may be one of the reasons why they try to get it out. Like if it doesn't come out 323, like so here's my thought process on 323. So it's gonna be the second quarter, obviously, of the year, right? So that means like April-ish time frame.
Yeah.
I think Invictus is in May, if I'm not mistaken. So we'll probably have like a .1 patch if 323 gets released in like the first part of the second quarter. Then I think the .1 patch for Invictus is when they'll probably release the Zeus.
That would be.
That's my theory. That's my thought process. I don't know if I'm going to be right, but we'll see.
Regardless of when it comes, this is probably one of the first ships that I pledged concept wise, and I am so excited.
Oh yeah, it was, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was probably my first ship I ever got to concept pledge. But man,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts, isn't it? Nuts. But I am excited.
You ain't gonna talk about what's in my hangar, but anyway,
different episode.
Completely. But so there's that, and then they're talking about the they used to call them the UGFs, underground facilities. Now they're calling them the distribution centers. I get that out eventually. That is so a couple of ISCs happen, or one in particular happened with that, and that is, I think it's going to be a load of fun because there's different levels, right? So there's I think roughly around 13 that are coming in 323, supposedly. And yes, I'm going to keep saying that so y'all don't beat me up. But so, and they're going to be spread out across Hurston and Microtech, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, because obviously you're not going to stick them on R-Corp because there's nowhere to put them, and the same freaking thing with Crusader.
Ain't got no space in it.
Right? No, it's got plenty of space. It just ain't got no land. But so, and they are thinking about putting them on moons. That's just it's not going to be in this first iteration. Yeah. The other thing that's not going to be in this first iteration is the underground portion, which is kind of depressing, but also understandable. Because these are very huge facilities. Like these, outside of your normal spawn points, right? These are the second largest social bull areas, interactable areas outside of your respawn locations, right? Mm-hmm. And the Lagrange points. So, I mean, there's going to be a crap load of stuff, apparently, from what they're saying that they can do. They're even talking about having missions going from one part of the facility to the other part of the same facility. You ain't even got to leave. You just got to pick it up and take it over. Like, what did y'all run out of labor? Like somebody calling sick that day or something? Like, what? I don't know. I thought it was funny, but I was also like, that's kind of cool at the same time because, especially for like newer people, and I keep going back to that because, you know, you and I, OG, we're fairly-ish new to the community when it comes to actually backing the game. Like, there's people that I've talked to and hear of that have backed the game ever since it popped off on Kickstarter, right? And I'm nowhere near that level. I wish I would have heard about it back then. I probably would have done it on Kickstarter, but I didn't. Is what it is. I'm here now, right? And so are you. But so I guess in more of a relationship, I'm kind of in between when it comes to relating to the other people because I have been here for like 3 years, you know, back in the game. So I've kind of been through some of the ick of it, you know, and then I'm still kind of new to where like I get to experience a lot of this new stuff coming out just like everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So for new people coming in, go into these distribution centers and not having to jump from point to point to point to point to point to point and not having a clue how to do that, I think is a cool thing.
I do too. I think it's going to be really good for new people because it kind of, you know, say I'm brand new. I get one of these to these distribution centers or whatever, and I don't know where to go. I don't know what's here. I don't know nothing about it, but I know how to pick up missions because I was taught that in my tutorial. But
if they decide to play it, yeah.
But you know, that would be a good thing to be able to, especially if it's routed right to where you got to take this over here to this, but it makes you walk through your main area, your side area, and all that. I think it'll be awesome, man. I really do.
They're gonna have roads at this distribution center too. They're gonna have like hangars, and landing pads and things like that. They even talked about missions about bombing certain places on the distribution center. And I'm like, oh, okay, so you're trying to throw some missions out there for these A1 guys. Like, I appreciate that. And the A2 dudes as well, you know? Like,
Yeah.
thank you. We appreciate that. Not another useless ship unless it's Jump Town. Because I'm totally going to do that when it comes around again. But whatever.
Yeah.
So, and then we got, God, what else was it? There's so much, and I'm trying to remember it right off the top of my head.
There's a lot.
There is. The star map is probably one of the most anticipated things coming. Especially for you explorer people.
Yes.
Oh, gee, I'm looking at you.
Yes. The star map, from what they showed and what they talked about with it, it's going to change the way that we view the solar system for the most part, right? So as far as like seeing it in game, but map wise, I mean it's gonna be a whole different ball game.
How's it gonna be a different ball game though?
Well, they talked about. I remember. Okay. A little bit.
I'll fill in the blanks. Go for it.
So they talked about the different ways of viewing things, right? My brain just shut.
Oh my god. So, okay. So FPS map and star map are coming in at the same time, right? So now FPS maps are going to trickle down and trickle into where things will start coming in. You won't have an FPS map all the time. However, how we do now, like say when you hit F2 and you go into your skyline, you'll have nothing but the system, right? You can go to ArcCorp and it'll show you all the moons and the surrounding, areas of ArcCorp, right? And then you'll see all the little different like POIs that you can go to. Well, here, like let's say you're on ArcCorp and you pull up the F2 and go to the star map, it's going to show you your first-person view of ArcCorp. Or not first-person view, but like a top-down, topographical or holographical, whatever, map of ArcCorp. And then as you zoom out, it's going to show you all of Area 18. And you're going to zoom out again, and it's going to show you all of ArcCorp. And you're going to zoom out again, and it's going to show you all of the ArcCorp system, all the corresponding moons and everything like that. And then you're going to zoom out even more, and it's going to show you the entire Stanton system, right? Or you can zoom all the way back into your character. So it's not, you're going to end up having this dynamic map mode, I guess would be a good way to describe it, to where it's going to show you everything. Now, I don't know if at some point, like later, much later down the line, when they come out with more systems and things like that, excuse me, if it'll show the entirety of all the systems that are available to you, like Pyro, Nyx, Magnus, whatever. Not Magnus. Forget what I just said. But anyway, Pyro and Nyx. They're Odin. That's what I was thinking. I don't know why. I said Magnus because that's in Hurston. I don't know why I did that. But anyway, Odin. And so you'll be able to see all these different systems. Like, I don't know if that portion is ever going to come, like if you'll be able to see that far out, but I know like if you're in a system, you'll be able to see everything in the system. Drop a pin or plot a course from wherever you're at, right? You get in your ship, you take off, and you go, right? And it's no more, like, I know now, like right now, like when I try to plot a course, I need to wait till I'm like a little bit up in the atmosphere before I even start trying to plot a course for it'll actually like operate properly to where it'll tell me, hey, go to this OM and then go here kind of thing. If I try to do that in the hangar, no, not going to work. Does not work for me ever. So whatever. But that, to me, the star map is going to be awesome because not only for more ease of course mapping, but there's also the pin dropping that I mentioned earlier, to where and you can name these pins, right? You're supposed to be able to name these pins from what they said at CitizenCon, and it's really going to increase the functionality of explorers finding all these different caves, and almost going to make it to a point to where some of these like third-party websites, which I hate it for them, but it's almost going to make them obsolete, because everybody's going to get these points. They're going to have them saved, and then bam.
That's it.
That's it. And you could sell the information. Like, you could sell the coordinates to somebody else.
Yep.
Like, that's awesome.
Yeah.
That's kind of like info runners almost on not to, take the name from the other podcast that does that, but I mean, that's what that is. You're selling the information that you have found, and I think that in itself creates a whole new dynamic for a different type of player-to-player kind of economy, and I think that's great. And I think that's what OG was really kind of getting off about.
Brain is stops working sometimes every now and then. 99% of the time when I need it to work.
It's cool.
But so
I get you.
I think another great thing about that is being able to drop a pin. Like if we're out doing something, right, and we come across something kind of unusual, like a different area or something that not everyone's seen or whatever. The way that we normally get to you is by quantuming to you, right?
And hopefully not through the planet.
9 times out of 10, you will go through the planet. I have horrible luck with that. I'm
going to tell you right now. Do you know the secret behind that? Real quick.
Don't do it.
Well, besides that, don't do it when you're on the opposite side of the planet of them. No. Make sure that you're like above them, and where you can just look straight down at them and then go.
Well, I've had times. Usually you stop between like 10K away from them, right? I've had times when they're just about on the ground, and I don't stop, and I meet the ground.
Oh,
in quantum speed. Yeah, and it is what it is. But
moving on.
In that case, someone can say, "Hey, man, I just found this cool little area over here. Got a bunch of trees, a little bit of water over here. Come check it out or whatever." And they can drop that pin there. Because there's 2 ways that we do it now. We either quantum to you and jump through the planet, or we fly a horrible amount out of the way because there's no endpoint there. There's nowhere to jump. It's just bad. But we deal with it. But you be able to drop that pin, and then whether I feel like running out there now or not now or later, I can save that. Say, man, Vintage told me to check that out. I forgot about that, but I'm looking at my map now and I can see it. Let me go check that out real quick. And that's just awesome. If I go and find a cluster of rocks, fingers crossed that there'll be something similar next time I get on, I can go back to that same area and check it out.
Absolutely.
So I think it's going to be really cool, man. The star map is going to change a massive aspect of the gaming of Star Citizen.
Absolutely, and then I think it's going to make it more intuitive too, to where it's actually easier to use. Obviously, like that's the whole purpose of it anyway.
It's rough. It's rough right now.
That's a nice way of putting it, man. I'm not even gonna lie.
It's rough.
But but and then on top of that, they're talking about FPS compasses, right? So we'll have a thing on the top of our screen, right, of our HUD, and it will sit there and tell us what direction we're going.
Yeah.
So there's no more, hey, I got a guy shoot me over here. Where's over here? Nobody knows, right? And so unless you're using landmarks to like physically say like, okay, we're calling this thing north, then you have some kind of form of direction, right? But there's not going to be any more of that because you're going to have a heading and you're going to have, north, south, east, west, like just like that on a compass. And you can now do the call outs like that, especially during like combat and everything. And I think that's awesome. And that's been a much needed thing. And I'm assuming it had something to do with the star map that needed to be done before this could be done. I could be wrong. I don't really know, but that's what I'm thinking. But it's going to be awesome.
It is.
Needless to say, and it's going to be a huge quality of life. Like, that's basically what 323 is, to be honest, is just a massive quality of life freaking update, is what it seems like. So
I think 323 is going to be that next big step, right?
I think 323 is going to be that patch that brings a lot of these players back into it. You know what
Yes.
I'm saying? Like, I think 323 is going to be really busy. Like, I don't think we'll have another 318 patch, you know,
Fingers
fingers
crossed.
crossed. But it really does seem like a great overall patch in itself, just with the amount of changes that they're making. And all of these are features coming over. Excuse me. All these are features coming over from Squadron 42, which is awesome. I think they talked about, what was another thing that they talked about? They talked about a dynamic crosshair that is only usable with like certain like combat related helmets, right? Which I think is neat because that opens the door for like engineering helmets, medical helmets, things like that, like different stuff, you know, to where it okay, I'm this is going to be my primary thing that I'm dealing with, so I'm going to put this kind of gear on. And I like that stuff because you're loading out for something that you're planning to go do.
Yes.
Right? And you're trying to make sure that you are best equipped to handle that situation. And then you have other people of your party, if you have them, that are loading out for different aspects. You're all still going to do the same thing, but it's like, hey man, I'm kind of like a medic or whatever. Let me put on this kind of medical helmet or this medical gear and take medical supplies to where I can be of help to these people who are going to be in the line of fire. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
Like that kind of situation is awesome. And that's what makes it a simulation, so to speak, because it's like, you know, you're going to do something and you want to have the best type of outcome for that, right?
Yes.
Like
you want to be prepared. You want to be prepared.
Right, absolutely. So that's where right now the gear that we have is kind of just like meh, whatever, you know, like you have it and that's it, you know. It's just like, oh yeah, I got this cool looking helmet, like ta-da.
Yeah, I can go do anything with this cool helmet, you know. It doesn't give me any kind of boost to something specific.
Nope, doesn't give you any kind of like advantage, or not even necessarily advantage, but just added gear to where it I guess it would be an advantage in all intents and purposes, you know. But anyway, so this dynamic crosshair was actually going to be a crosshair on your HUD at all times, to where if you were holding the gun at hip, you would know where it's gonna somewhat fire, right? It's not gonna honestly hit true like all the time, but it will hit for the most, right? And we don't have that now, which I think is kind of cool that they're adding that to specific helmets, not just all of them. And that's something that I kind of look forward to. And now the actual, what is it? The scopes and the reticles and the sights and all that, like they're gonna look a little bit fancier, which I think is cool. But I mean, it's not something that makes or breaks a game, but I think it's just like a nice added little touch.
Nice aspect to add in. Just a little touch. I'm on board. I'm on board. As long as it's accurate.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Well, no, like, so okay, so let's say the gun is sitting down on a table, right? And it's vertical. It's not just laying on its side, right? You can look at the gun as you're walking by and you can still see through the scope. Is what they're doing, right? So it's when you're actually aiming down sights though, and you're doing this, you're gonna have like different like blacked out areas of the scope because of the way you're moving. So it's gonna be more of a movement type thing with the reticle and everything like that. So they're making that more of, I guess, dynamic would be the word, but I'm not really, I can't remember exactly what they called it, but whatever. And so that's going to put a little bit more feel into it, because I don't know about you, but the last time I looked down a scope on a rifle and went to go shoot and I moved my head a little bit, like you see like those little black circles around the actual reticle. You know what I'm saying? Like, or blacked out areas around the reticle sometimes. Like that's basically what they're doing there. So they're trying to put more of a realization to the scope. And I think that's cool. Like, not gonna lie. Like, awesome. Like, if y'all can do that, cool. Whatever. I don't think it's necessary, but that's the game y'all want to make.
Go for it.
Nice touch. Nice touch.
Thank you.
And then, so master modes.
Yeah. I have a love-hate relationship.
I'm concerned with master modes. One, okay, so I've logged some hours with it on Arena Commander, right?
Mm.
You and I both have.
Yeah.
And it was fun. But I'm looking back at it now, I realized how easy it was to shoot those guys down compared to what it is live, right?
Yeah.
Now, the first iteration of master modes with some ships is coming in 323, supposedly.
Mm-hmm.
Again, there's that word, supposedly.
Yeah.
Now, I know pretty much a lot of you are familiar with Avenger 1, and I would love to sit down and have a conversation with him one day about flight combat, because I'm pretty sure he knows a whole slew of things because he's made a career on it. So obviously he knows something that I don't, which is probably quite a lot. But anyway, I watched his video recently that came out that says what we're going to be missing, and he had a lot of valid points about that, right? And I'm almost inclined to agree with him, but also at the same time, it's like I don't have enough knowledge myself on master modes as it is, because at first, when I first got into it and I first started subscribing, right, I would go into the PTU and play around and everything like that, and I got tired of doing that. And so I was like, no more. I'm not doing PTUs. I don't want to be Evocati. Like, I don't want to do any of that. I'm going to play the live version, and that's it. Like, I'm not going to stress myself out with the rest of the stuff, right?
Yeah.
So I stopped doing that. So, but when Arena Commander came out with some of the Master Mode things, I did that. And I kind of see where he's going with it when it says that it kind of takes out some of the skill, because it was really easy for me to shoot down a crap load of NPCs, at least NPC wise. I don't know about like free, like going after other players, but as far as NPC wise goes, it was so much easier to do Vandal Swarm in master modes than when it was with the old Vandal Swarm, because I did the original Vandal Swarm and the Pirate Swarm, and that crap was hard. But I managed it somehow. And then I go into Arena Commander with the new master modes, and I'm like, oh my god, these got, like whatever.
Yeah.
So I kind of see where he's going with it, and I kind of understand what he's saying. He was talking about maneuvers and stuff like that, and I'm like, I don't even know how to pull the first maneuver. I'm not even gonna lie. Yeah. Like, I practice, like I go in there and I dogfight with people and stuff like that to try and like learn some new stuff, but again, I don't have somebody that's a viable teacher to really kind of go into depth. But anyway, I'm not going to go off on a tangent on master modes, because that's not what this episode's about. But anyway, first iteration of master mode is supposed to be coming out, right? Yeah. So, and then we have, crap, there was another big thing I'm trying to think of. What is it, OG?
I honestly can't think of any other big thing.
Because we talked about the character customizer, we talked about the scopes just now, not the habs, but the hangers.
Star map
and FPS map. For the most part, yeah, that's pretty much a lot of the things that stand out. Yeah. So, but it was, I think 323 really honestly is gonna be a lot of fun for us.
I think so too. I think it's,
with stability.
More of the not so hype patches that we get. We usually take a good little break and play other games and things like that. Just because the gaming world is huge. There's so much, and there's a lot of stuff that we all enjoy. So I think that this is really going to pull us and a majority of people back into that world, because of course Star Citizen is definitely our number one, right? Hence as we do a podcast, we have played more Star Citizen than anything for the most part. At least I know I have. I mean, but you get those moments like, I don't feel like dealing with it today.
We have been playing a lot of Helldivers recently.
We have.
Is that game not the shit or what?
Dude, that game
being simple.
That game is a different level of terrifying. Right? I've never been to Vietnam. But I have flashbacks I mean, I'm telling you,
Flashbacks to Helldivers. I don't know about that.
It is bad, but Helldivers is a blast, man. I've had some good fun. You know, having a couple drinks with the buddies, getting together,
Yep.
democracy, vengeance, and freedom. Yeah, yeah. We're starting to tinker back into Elden Ring again. New DLC.
That's because they're coming the DLC out.
Yeah,
in
new DLC,
June or whatever.
June, July, something like that. Oh,
we did a whole. We started a whole new fresh character, and we're starting from square one, and we're getting ready for the new DLC that's coming out for the Shadow of the Erd Tree.
Yeah.
But we're also doing it with a mod called Seamless Co-op because it's the freaking best.
It's a blast. I
love it.
When I tried this game for the first time, I got Vintage to finally download it after like 3 months of telling him, right? Those 3 months, I got nowhere. I have never played a game where it's
tell this story again.
Yeah, I've never played a game. It is dependent on evading, right? Never. I am always the first person in there to die because I don't dodge, I don't roll. I take my hits like a man, right?
You better dodge now.
You're not doing that in Elden Ring. It's not happening, right? Your first 18 steps, once you get out of the graveyard, you look down on the cliffside after being told you have no bitches by the guy standing right there, right? You look down after getting told that, you're like, dude, there's a guy on a horse down there. I'm fixing to go get him, right?
You talking about straight on the first steps, not even actually in the spawn area where you get your cheeks clapped by the 8-armed little.
Yeah, no, we're not even talking about that. No, because that's terrifying. First off, you don't really even know what's going on at that point. You just know, oh man, which button is dodge? Where is my jump? How do I sprint? You're figuring out those, and you get smacked by a big spider with 8 swords and 2 shields. I mean, it's terrifying. But after you get told that you're maidenless, right? Which in their terms means you have no bitches. You are bitchless. You go out there and you see a big golden dude on a horse, the tree sentinel. Right?
I'm not even gonna lie. When I first saw that guy, I was like, "Oh, I wonder what he's got to say." So I went up there and I was like, "Oh, he's not friendly.
He's not talking to me. He's hurting me." Dude, tree sentinel will tear you up. First off, right? I was stuck at Margaret, the Fell Fallen. Not gonna throw any spoilers out for people who haven't played it, but I was stuck there for 3 months. 3 months. And to this day, still struggle with him. I can go fight Godfrey. Elden Beast, not my thing. Can't figure that one out for nothing.
The hell with Godfrey.
Dude, that's probably that and Malekith are my favorite fights. Godfrey and Malekith. Those top of the game for me, man. Malekith is awesome. His second phase is insane. But
dude, his whole backstory though is which I'm not gonna say anything, but it's pretty awesome. But anyway, Godfrey, you're Margaret, whatever.
Margaret.
It's me again, Margaret. Giving away my age.
But 3 months, and Vintage finally downloads it. Vintage comes in there. Vintage's play style, depending on what it is usually sneaky, dodgy, stab you in the back kind of thing, because Vintage is Vintage.
Dude, what?
But
no, it's not. I'm just careful.
So Vintage figures it out real quick. You have to dodge, right? I haven't done this at this point.
It tells you in the tutorial.
I don't know I don't read, okay? I can't read. I refuse to. If it's not a color pop-up book, I don't need to read it.
God.
But you learn about I had no idea what a parry is. I didn't know what that did. I didn't even know how to do it.
Those are awesome.
Those are the key. That and bleed, which bleed they nerfed. They nerfed bleed a lot, the bleed damage.
They nerfed it into the ground, but it's still pretty viable regardless.
Me likey. But yeah, we're doing another playthrough with that right now. Been playing a little bit of Helldivers. Been farming.
A little bit.
A lot.
A lot of Helldivers. We can't play Farming Simulator because your Discord always shuts down.
Farming Simulator, if you're watching this, I would love a tractor. I don't have anywhere to put it, but I would love one. You know, I don't really know what I want. Maybe a Kubota.
Real one?
Here. I want a real tractor, man.
For what? What do you do with it?
So I can go cut somebody else's grass because I ain't got none. I plow your field real quick. You got a tiller? I'll do it.
I'll plow your field.
Florida. Let's see what we got today.
Yeah. Florida ban. Let's
leave that where it was at. Right? Hotel guest arrested for assaulting housekeeper in dispute over towels.
Hold up. Hold up.
Over towels.
Over towels. What about the towels made her lose her shit?
From what the title says there wasn't enough.
How many towels you gotta have? That's what I want to know.
They didn't have enough. A dispute over towels at Studio 6 extended stay hotel escalated into physical confrontation, resulting in the arrest of a guest. According to the police report, Yada Yada Police Department responded to a battery call at the Studio Hotel at Yada Yada Yada. Upon arrival, officers met with the victim, a hotel employee who sustained visible injuries to her face, including scratches around her eye and nose area. The employee reported being physically assaulted by a guest in room 176. Records show that the victim told officers that there was a confrontation that had began when she was about to clean the room and was approached by the attacker. Records show the victims told officers...
You gotta read. I don't want to...
Despite having already called management for the same request, the attacker confronted the employee after she refused to hand over towels and entered the room to clean. So she was trying to come clean the room, and I guess the guest didn't want the room clean, but wanted the towels. And she was like, "Nah, I ain't giving you these towels. You let me tidy up in here so I don't have to work so hard later when you leave." And I get that. I understand that.
So from a customer standpoint aspect, the customer is always right. As much as I hate that phrase, I cannot stand that phrase, and I think that is so dumb.
Why you whoop her ass over towels?
Which is why we have that situation.
Oh my goodness.
Oh my Lord.
That would be hilarious. That would be nuts. That would be nuts.
Petty people.
Man, there's too many of them in this world. Too many. But with that being said, guys, this is a good episode. Talked a little bit about a little bit of everything.
Had some fun. Yeah. Had some laughs.
Yeah, had some laughs. Vengeance! Man, that guy is hilarious.
Ain't he? But anyway, that is it for us, and we're going to call it a night. Y'all have a great one. Thanks for stopping by. We appreciate it, and we're going to pass it off to Minnie Vintage, and she's going to close this out. Y'all. Yeah.
And remember, use sunblock even when there's no sun.
Hey, Minnie Vintage here. I just want to say thank you for all those that listen to this podcast. It means a lot to me and my dad. Make sure to like and subscribe. Also, check the description down below for all our socials. 07 Citizens.